Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has said in court documents that she felt unprotected by the royal family and was prohibited from defending herself against media reports while she was pregnant with Archie. Now, the lawyers representing her case against the publisher of the Mail on Sunday and Mail Online said Meghan had become the subject of a large number of false and damaging articles by the UK tabloid media, which caused tremendous emotional distress and damage to her mental health. First of all, Jane, because you're so good on all this royal stuff, when she says that she was prohibited, who is she talking about when she says that?
Probably what Diana used to call the grey men of the palace. So, you know, behind the scenes, obviously, you've got all of these staff who are there, like the various press offices. Each member of the royal family has a different set of press people. And they very much control the narrative behind the monarchy. And it's never really about individuals. So, you know, if you think about that age-old adage of never complain, never explain, that is very much the ethos of the palace. And so I think for Meghan, it's a bit kind of... I sort of feel sorry for her because obviously she has been very shocked by what she discovered. But then again, I don't feel sorry for her because if she just Googled it, she would have seen that, you know, yes, she was a strong, independent, feisty woman with her own opinions, but if you marry into that institution, it's a very different set of rules.
Jane,
and, you know,
Jane.
It's about the institution and not about you.
Jane, do you think she fell into that age-old trap that lots of people do, and it's often ascribed to women, but I'm sure men do it as well, that you know that everything isn't perfect with the situation you're going into, but you think, I'll change it.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll change it. I'll sort that out. I'll do it differently.
But you kind of think that usually about a person, don't you? You think, oh, I'll change their bad habits. But the thing of I'll change the whole way that the British royal family works was quite a big ask. And, you know, when I look back at Harry's relationship history, I'm pretty sure that, you know, he would have married Chelsea Davy or he might have married Cressida Bonus. But both of them, because they were living in Britain and having that living experience, they saw what a gilded cage it is and they both went, no thanks. Whereas, of course, Meghan fell in love with him over in America, didn't really know it, came over and tried to change it and found that she couldn't.
And let's not forget, right from 11 years old, she was a campaigner, wasn't she? Do you remember when she wrote the letter to Hillary Clinton to get the advert changed from women, I think, women across America?
And you have a different thing with the media as well. So I think the media in America, it's a very different way of dealing it. You know, people... She came from a kind of a Hollywood setup where they've got people representing them and dealing with the press. Again, it's a very different thing with the British royal family. And so she is suing Associated Newspapers, who have the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday, saying that it's all to do with the publication of a letter that she wrote to her dad. They are denying everything. So all this is really coming out as her rebuttal against certain articles that she is saying were incorrect. So I think one of them is surrounding the security costs and stuff like that. And she's saying, well, our wedding... I mean, she's come up with the figure that it made the country $1 billion, which I think is probably a little bit over. But I do have certain sympathy. I think a royal wedding should be funded by the taxpayer. So, yeah, it's going to there's going to be a lot more of this.
I think... And Judi, do you feel sorry for her?
Yeah, I feel like she didn't realise what she was stepping into. She fell in love with somebody, you know, the whole romance of it. It's a prince, you know, he's an English prince, and she's come over here and, you know, she is dual heritage, so she's got both sides of both culture, but in America, and then coming over here and being bombarded by media. For her, in her example, was being bombarded. She felt like, you know, there was racism to it, there was sexism to it, there was all these other connotations that added to her being out in the public, and she felt like it affected her mental health. I just feel like she probably wasn't prepared and never thought it would be like this. It would just be the fairy tale.
And I think so many of us have been in that situation where we've thought we can change this.
Yeah.
So, from Meghan to Harry, yesterday, while presenting a Princess Diana award via video message, the Duke of Sussex paid tribute to the young people across the world working to make a change. Here's what he had to say.
My wife said recently that our generation and the ones before us haven't done enough to right the wrongs of the past. I too am sorry. Sorry that we haven't got the world to the place that you deserve it to be. Institutional racism has no place in our societies. yet it is still endemic. Unconscious bias must be acknowledged without blame to create a better world for all of you.
Very powerful message from Harry, but is he in a position to make an apology on behalf of all of us? What do you reckon, Kaye?
Oh, God, it's so difficult. I mean, you know, we have got so much wrong. You know, we are still getting so much wrong. There's no doubt about that. And I have no issue at all with Prince Harry saying that on behalf of me or himself or the white community. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not making excuses here at all. But if I think back to my childhood, it was the culture that we were brought up in. We sat and we watched Love Thy Neighbour and we laughed. We laughed at 8.5 Hot Mum. We laughed at Alf Garnett. I look back at that now and I cringe and I think, you know, how did we? But we did. We did. We know more now and we have to really learn from those mistakes. I mean, Judi, I don't know, how do you feel, and I'm sorry to come straight to you on it, how do you feel about watching Harry speaking in that way?
Do you know, I feel like he's probably addressing, he is the prince, he was in the UK, born here. It's like he's apologising for certain things that's happened culturally and in his legacy in regards to, you know, cultural background and being in the UK, entrenched, for what he would say, entrenched racism that has been within the UK. So I feel like that's what he's apologising for. Look, if there's things that he has maybe done that he felt was wrong, and now he's married to a woman who is of mixed heritage, that is making him reflect, it's making him understand. There's one thing being outside of it and not understanding it and being in it in a personal way where he's married someone of colour or he's got a child now that is gonna, you know, it's got black culture, black blood in it. It's gonna know that my son might be open to these kind of discriminations. So I think that is what it's fueling with regards to,
More keenly.
more keenly,
That for me was what I felt was missing, was that he himself has a history. So, you know, when he was at Sandhurst, a video was leaked out where he was saying some very inappropriate, non-PC things. And St James's Palace had to issue an apology and he got sent on some sort of diversity course.
Wow.
So, you know, again, I think any mistakes anybody's made in the past can be forgiven. But for me, I would like him to have said, I myself have made mistakes. So rather than kind of lumping everybody into the same thing and going, I'm apologising for the whole of our generation and our society, I think, well, I don't need Prince Harry to apologise for me because I've not done the things that he's done in his past. And I felt it would have been more powerful if he had actually said, look, you didn't need to be specific, but if he'd actually said, look, I've made mistakes myself.
Very powerful.
And I've learned.
But also, it's very scary at the moment, saying we've made mistakes,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a scary place at the minute. So I kind of get it, but both sides.
With the mistakes, that's how we have.
That's how we learn.
How we learn
That's how
and
we
we
learn.
have the conversation.